Aloha and welcome back. This is Natasha. So today I am doing the part 2 of the card series for the Simon Says Stamp September card kit. The card kit is called Sea Treasure. So in this video I'm going to be doing card number 3 and card number 4. So I started off with one of the mermaids in the stamp set, and I stamped her with some Lawn Fawn black licorice ink onto some Bristol smooth cardstock. And I'm using here my Spectrum Noir pens. I'm using some green tones, CG2, CG3, and DG3. I did put my pen caps there on the side to do a reference so you could see, but obviously the glare from the light, you can't see those other two pen caps, so sorry about that. Just coloring in, starting with my darker tone at the top of the tail, going into my mid, and then blending everything out with my lightest tone, just to make it a nice, effortless blend. And then I'm doing her fin, starting with a layer of my lightest, and then going in with my darkest tone. I'm going to be adding that to the middle of the tail, and then bringing in with my mid-tone, and then blending everything in with my lightest again. Sorry if you hear some background noise. It is actually raining here today, so it's a good day to do some editing on my videos. Okay, I'm getting all of that to blend out. I'm going to be moving on to her hair now. And with her hair, I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to do kind of a contrasting to the green, and I thought that what doesn't go better with the dark green than a bright pink, right? So I did go in with some bright pinks. I did BP.2, BP6, and BP7, which blends amazingly. I mean, seriously. The coloring of those three pens, it's just, it gives it so much character, the hair, like it does. It makes it look like it's actually underwater, swimming underwater. So starting off with my lightest tone, I just added a layer of color for the whole hair. And then going in with my darkest tone, I'm just adding where I think there would be shadowing. And I'm not good by any means at, figuring out where the shadowing is. I'm just basically guessing at this point where I think there would be light coming in from the ocean top. And I did just go in with every curl that she has in her hair. I did color in with the darkest tone and then blend it all out. I am thinking of taking one of those online classes to figure out the shadowing, on images. I think it would be something good, as I'm a card maker. It would be something, beneficial to my craft to do a card class to understand like shadowing. So here at the bottom, on the bottom piece of her hair, I figure there's going to be more shadowing since her arm is blocking the light. So I did pull up the darker colors or darker tones a little higher on that part of her hair. Gorgeous. Okay, and then I'm coloring. I'm coloring in her shell bikini top, the same green tones as her tail. So I finished her off, did her skin tone, and colored the little starfish in some purple tones. And then taking a green Jelly Roll pen, it's like a shimmery Jelly Roll pen, I'm adding that to the little pearls on the top of her head. And then here I'm just going to be fussy cutting out my image. So I'm going to fussy cut the mermaid, and I do on my craft mat, you can see I have a little seahorse, and I will be fussy cutting the little seahorse as well. So for my panel, I did take 2 pieces of scrap cardstock that I had in my stash. This is from an old Simon Says card kit. And I just cut that out with a stitched frame and then added some stitched waves, and then put those 2 panels together. And I did want to show you that I never throw away like the extra scrap pieces. I cut little hearts out of them with die cuts, and then I use that for the inside of my cards. Okay, so laying all my pieces down on my MISTI for placement, I'm just going to be inking up and stamping my sentiment onto my panel. So I stamped on Beauty Comes From Within. And then adding some pop dots, I'm going to be popping up my mermaid here onto my panel. Okay, and then I'm going to be popping up the little seahorse as well. And I do use every piece of the pop dots. I use the sides. I like to make sure I use everything, not wasteful. Okay, and attaching the seahorse there. And then I did go in with a Wink of Stella shimmer pen, and I am putting some shimmer to her hair as well as her fin and her tail. And I did add some shimmer to her shell bikini top and the little starfish. Okay, so I'm just trying to see if you can see how shimmery that mermaid is. Super pretty. So I did add some white highlights to my images, and then I'm attaching that to a white card base with some liquid adhesive. Okay, and that's card number 3. And let's move on to card number 4. So for card number 4, I wanted to do something different. I took all of the little images in the stamp set, stamped them out with some clear ink, and then heat embossed it with some liquid platinum embossing powder. And I took some colored pencils, and I wanted to do this really simply. I mean, this card was really simple. I think in total it took me maybe 10 minutes to do the whole card, and for me that's like a pretty quick and easy card if I can do it in 10 minutes. So I'm just adding some colored pencil to all of the images, and I did stick with just one color. I didn't do any type of blending with dark colors. I just kept it really simple. So I finished coloring the entire panel, and I cut down 2 pieces with some Lawn Fawn double stitched die cuts. Yeah, the wonky ones. And I used the third one in from the biggest die cut, and I cut out 2 panels. And then using this Hugs die cut, I cut that out of some of the glitter paper that came in the card kit this month. And then I wanted to stamp out a sentiment. I just wanted the word mermaid. So I did take a Post-it note and mask off the part of the stamp that I didn't want, added some clear embossing ink, stamping that onto some gray cardstock. And I'm going to be adding the same exact embossing powder, the liquid platinum, to the mermaid sentiment. And I did get a little smudge on my paper, so I'm just going to take a paintbrush and wipe off the loose embossing powder. And then just heat set that. And I die cut it with a label die cut. And then here I just took the biggest one of that double stitched frames from Lawn Fawn and cut out the same gray cardstock for the backing of my card here. And attaching that with some liquid adhesive, I attached the top panel of the background that I stamped out with some liquid adhesive as well. And then the second panel I attached with some foam tape. And then I'm adding the Hugs die cut to that popped up panel. I'm going to be placing that down with some liquid adhesive. And again, I like the liquid adhesive because it gives me some room to move things around. Okay, so then I'm going to add a acrylic block just to make sure everything stays in place while it dries. And then taking that mermaid sentiment, I'm going to cut off the fishtail end of the sentiment. And I'm going to be adding some black soot to the around the edges of this die cut. Okay. And then I'm going to be adding that on with a little bit of liquid adhesive. And the card will read Mermaid Hugs. Super cute. So that top panel, as you can see, is sticking out over a little bit. I do trim that off. And here are some still shots of the 2 cards that I made today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it inspired you to get crafty and gave you some ideas to use with your Simon Says Stamp card kit. All right, mahalo for watching and stay tuned for card number 5 and number 6. Mahalo.